heaven, and Francis of Assisi. And I'd read a little about him. I hadn't read a lot about him. He was born in 1182 in Italy. And he had an incredible relationship with the Lord. But and he prayed for me, actually prayed for me in heaven. And I looked at this guy and I said, what have you got to say to me? He said to me, the main thing, he said many other things, which I'll leave for now, but this, he said creation wants to cooperate with you. I said, okay, that's good. He had an incredible ability with creation. The animals, they would just flock to him, the animals. And he talked to me about, talking to the animals. I don't know whether to share this with you or not because it could be controversial. But he said, you can hear what they're trying to say to you. I said, how? He said, well, you understand the interpretation of tongues, don't you? I said, but that's in a meeting. He said, no, it isn't. He said, you can do that in a meeting. And he said, oh, on the other hand, you can have people talk to you in another language and you can hear it in your own language. I thought, oh, okay. You can talk to the birds. You can talk to the trees. They'll probably put you away, but you can still talk to the trees. Everything is sustained by God. Yes. By him, everything continues to exist. And God is light, trees are light. This pulpit is light, made of light. We're all on the same wavelength. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And he said, look, he said, when you become love, he said, creation will recognize it and cooperate with you. And I said, well, cooperate what way? He said, you're living in very dangerous times. He said, he said to me, creation can stop a whole army. I thought, how? He said, the creation created such a storm, it can stop an army dead in its tracks.
Yes.
I thought, yeah, I should have known that. That would be good. And he talked to me about a number of things, how creation wants to help us in these end times. The whole of creation is waiting for a manifestation of the sons of God. Creation fell when Lucifer fell, because creation was under Lucifer. And they're waiting for us to reach a certain level. They're waiting for us. And he said to me, he said, when you become love, they will come, they will talk to you. You'll have the ability to understand. They'll cooperate with you. Don't look at me like that.
Now you know I had to just add my 2 cents, right? What's up, you guys? Listen, I agree with what Brother Neville is saying about creation cooperating with us. And when you become love, they will cooperate with you. They will know, they will see it, and they'll begin to work with you. But some of us, depending on your culture and where you were raised, some of us don't even like animals. I will be honest, let me talk about most Africans. I didn't say all, but majority of Africans, they hate animals, they hate dogs. If the animal is not for eating, they don't want to have any business to do with you. I don't know how you can hate something that God created when everything that God created, he loved it, and he said all that he created is good. Nobody asking you to put a dog in your bed or in your house or whatever, but we don't have love. But then we want creation to cooperate with us. How can they cooperate with us if you don't even love them? They don't even sense any love from you. God created everything, and I know God loves animals. You know how I know? There was 2 places in the Bible I can tell you that. In the Garden of Eden, there were more animals than humans. In Noah's Ark, There were more animals than humans. So if God didn't love animals, first of all, he wouldn't have created them. Number two, when he flooded the earth, he wouldn't have asked Noah to bring some of them in the boat. He would have killed all of them. So if something God creates, we have to love it now. So humans, Christians, Africans, non-Africans, please, let's begin to show some love for God's creation. Change our mindset. It's time to shift some of the mindset and the tradition, the thing and the culture, the thing we have from before we got born again. We just bring them into the kingdom and try to fit it in God's words. It shouldn't be like that. It should be the other way around. Drop it and take God's words and his culture. The kingdom culture is the only culture now. The kingdom culture is supposed to be the dominant culture when we get born again. And some of us, it takes years, years and years to break some of the mindset and the behavioral pattern from 3, 4, 5 generations. We'll carry on. We have to break some of it. If you're struggling in that area, no problem. Lord, help me. Simple. Let's continue to listen to what Brother Neville has to say.
For us. And he said to me, when you become love, they will come. They will talk to you. You'll have the ability to understand. They'll cooperate with you. Don't look at me like that. It's true. This guy knew what he's talking about. Because that's how he was while he was on the earth. My wife's good with birds, really good. And we've got one morning, early morning, 6:30, we hear this on our door. And I thought, 6:30. Who's coming to our door 6:30? So get up, open the door, and there's a turkey. A turkey. I looked at this turkey. And I said, there's a turkey at the door. So she gets up and feeds it. This is a wild turkey, Anyway, next morning, no. How are we going to get rid of this turkey? Every morning it comes, knocks on the door and waits. And it's a wild bird, And I thought, and we have these, what they call water dragons where I live, and racehorse goannas. Racehorse goanna is a lizard about this long, and it'll run down rabbits and eat them just like that, And we have quite a few of them. We have the smaller ones, which can swim. They wait. They wait for Joe to get up, feed them, they'll come out, eat, go back in again. I thought, well, what are you trying to teach us, Lord? This is nice, but what do you... Creation is going to become a tremendous help in the battles that lay ahead of us. They're going to cooperate with us. When things get bad and things need to be stopped, God can creation can form itself into a hurricane and come through and stop it.
Come on now. Woo!
So I had a great time with this guy. Romans 8:22, for they know that the whole of creation groans, waiting, travailing, in pain, until now. And not only they, but we ourselves also. The more we come into harmony with the Lord, the more creation comes into harmony with us. And he said, they can see, creation knows how much of the Lord is in you. Oh, wow. That's good.
Interesting that creation can look at us and see how much of God is in us. But we as believers and as Christians, we cannot see how much of God is in each other. We cannot see how much of Christ is formed in each of us. So therefore, sometimes we treat each other anyhow, talk to each other anyhow, say all manners of things behind each other's back anyhow. But animals, creation, that's what some of you ill treat the animals. You think, especially in Africa, they say the dog is a witch and the cat is a witch. But the animal can look at you and tell how much of Christ is in you, how much of God is in you, how much of love is in you. But you can't even look at your brothers or sisters to see how much of God is in them, how much of Christ is in them, how much of love they have become. And because you can't see that, you can't discern that, you treat them anyhow. But your apostle with the titles, you put them on the pedestal, you put them between you and God, that you have to go through them to hear from God. But your brothers and sisters next to you, you look at them anyhow because you are judging them in your heart based on your definition of success in walking with God. And what is your definition? If you don't see them have all kind of material things, or they don't have husband, they don't have a wife, maybe they're struggling financially just like you are or whatever, so you look down your nose upon them. But who told you in the eyes of God that's a sign of spiritual growth, success, or maturity? Who told you that's a sign that somebody is walking with God or is not walking with God? Who told you that's a sign that they are far away from God? And we see your big name men and women of God with big platform, big ego, big head, big belly, big churches, big audiences. You look at that and in your mind they are success or they are successful. But who told you that's a sign of success? You see, what man considered to be a success is not even what God looks at. You know that. God has a look through the Bible. God has a track record and the tendency of taking nobodies and making them somebody overnight. So be careful how you overlook each other in this new year coming up. Be careful how you look down or look upon each other. Be careful who you overlook. The very person you overlook and look down upon, beloved, might be the very person you need help with tomorrow. Might be the very person you'll be going to the conferences tomorrow and wishing you were as close as you once used to be with them, or as you wish, but you look down your nose upon them because they don't have what you think is success. How come creation can look at us and tell how much of God is in us, but we can't look at each other and see how much of God is in each other? It's sad. Let's change that. Thank you.